Thanks to Artlist for providing all the music in this video. To get royalty-free original music for your next video, use the special link in the description below and get 2 extra months free with your paid subscription.
I am experiencing crazy deja vu right now because I am once again back in Iceland, driving around in a car, talking to a camera, and I am driving into a place that I photographed almost 2 years ago, an area known as Stokksnes. It's 2 years later, I'm back, I'm making another video at Stokksnes. My goal is to get a better photo. I feel like I used the wrong focal length last time, I was in the wrong place, and I'm still kicking myself about it. Like, I still go back and I look at those photos. Man, why didn't you change lenses? Why didn't you do something different? Why didn't you change position? Because where I was not as good as I thought it was. So when I came back to Iceland this time, I thought, you know what? I'm going to plan, there's gonna be one day on this trip. I'm gonna spend a night in Hoffen, I'm gonna go to Stokksnes, I'm gonna photograph Vestrahorn, and I'm going to get this out of my system, and I'm going to try and get the photograph that I want. Weather permitting, of course. There's been some very like a low shelf of clouds pretty much the whole way I've been driving in. Those clouds that sit down really low and would kind of like hit Vestrahorn like right here, like at chest level. Wouldn't look very good. And I'm hoping that we'll get a good sunset this evening and the clouds will part and we'll get some good light and I'll get into a good spot and hopefully do some good photography this evening. So, you know, something I'm noticing wandering around here and looking at this landscape again and seeing it in a completely different season is the difference in the grass. Like, there's all this wonderful seagrass around here, which is part of what gives it its character. When I was here last time, which was in winter, the grass, if I remember right, was yellow. And I remember there being less of it because this time it is bushy. I mean, there is like quite a bit of green seagrass growing all over these mounds here. And they also have taller stalks that are coming up off of them as well. Whereas in the wintertime, they were kind of laying more flat. I think I preferred how they looked in the wintertime. This is a little too green. I mean, it's photographically speaking, I think it'd be better to have a little more black sand, but just a little bit of texture, a little bit of hair growing on these hills here. Well, this is a bit much. I will tell you though, one thing that has not changed, it is still windy, it is still cold. It is surprisingly cold out here for like mid to late July. I guess because we're just right off of the water here and the wind just rips through here, coming in off of the ocean. And I remain hopeful that that wind is gonna blow some of these clouds out. And it looks like a little bit more of the peaks are starting to be revealed now. Looks like the cloud cover's starting to raise up a little bit. I don't know. We're just gonna have to wait and see, I guess. So, so far at least, remember earlier when I was talking about clouds being right about here? Well, they're actually like, like down at like below the waist at this point. I mean, that cloud cover is almost all the way down to the base of the peaks. And those peaks go way high. I mean, they go much, much higher than what you're able to see right now. I mean, they are completely covered with this just opaque, just low shelf of white cloud that is just drifting across the front. And it looks like out this way over the ocean, there's some dark clouds out that way, and they all seem to be coming on shore. But you know, This is one of those crazy places where you literally never can tell what's going to happen. Like in the next 20, 30 minutes, it could completely change. All this could blow through, the sun could pop out, it could get super bright. You just don't know. The one thing that I have been photographing, however, with my setup up here, is this little corner of Vestrahorn over here on the left side, which is actually quite nice. It's catching some of the late day sun coming in from the side over here, and that's pretty decent. And I've been shooting that a little bit, but if the sky was good and if the sky was lit up, I've seen some photos of people who've shot some Aurora Borealis here. None of that here in the summertime. You have to come to Iceland in the winter for that. Instead, I just have this beautiful mass of cloud obscuring the view. And, well, trying not to get down, right? Trying to stay on the positive side about this and remain hopeful, because how much more time I got here? Yeah, it's about 6 o'clock. So I've got about another 3 hours, maybe 3.5 hours of light left, and a lot can happen in that time. Since we have a little bit of time, in case you're curious to know what else I'm shooting with here, I have some new gear for this trip that I brought with me. This is a new carbon fiber tripod made by ProMediaGear. It has 3 leg extensions, and so it gets up very high. This is actually maximum height here, and I'm 6'5", so this is pretty tall, and which I love, because then it gets up higher than normal. And it also comes in handy if you're on a hill and you need to kick like one leg out because you're on an incline. Another item for ProMediaGear, this is their ball head. And underneath here, this is a special add-on for the tripod that they sell. This is a leveling base here, which you can unscrew and then move your whole configuration up here. There's a bubble level on the ball head up here, because then you're able to get the ball head level no matter what kind of terrain you're on. This is, you know, the kind of equipment that performs best, I think, in a place like Iceland, a place like this where it is windy. Last time I was out here at Stokksnes, it was windy then too. It is windy again. You can see like waves of black sand just rolling across the ground here, which was just beating me up last time. I got sand all over me last time. It was such a mess. So, looks like some of the light has, well, looks like some of the clouds has moved in front of the sun over there, so I've lost the light on that side, but let's just be patient and let's just roll with it and let's see what happens. So earlier I did a little wandering around in the dunes where I was a couple of years ago when I was here, and I decided to, instead of shooting with a tripod, to just put on a lens that has an image stabilizer on it, which is like the Canon 16-35, and just do some wandering around in the dunes and just looking to see where the light was, following the light instead of being frustrated about the light not being optimal and the light not hitting exactly where I want it to be. Just go where it is going and see what I could find that way. And it was while I was over there that I looked across the road here, and there's another section of black sand dunes over here, and these have a little more elevation. They're not quite as flat. That's what you're looking at here. And these are to the right of the road when you drive in. And I have to say that I think the angle here is probably better. I think I like this better than being on that side over there. It's something about the geometry of the peaks and the way that they kind of curve. It's almost like they're curving towards this direction here, where I'm standing right now. And I think it's working pretty well. And we're getting a nice golden hour side light over here to the west that is raking across all of these, all of the green grass that's on top of the dunes here. So what I'm doing here is I have the Polar Pro Summit on right now with a 6-stop solid ND on. because I want to kind of smooth out the clouds a little bit more. I don't want to go crazy with it and make them smeary, but I can at least slow down the shutter a little bit and just give the sky a little more drama than would be there if I were shooting at a faster shutter speed. And I think it's working out pretty well. It's not exactly the kind of image I was hoping for. I was hoping for a little more light on Vestrahorn itself. But it seems like in summer, with where the sun is, it sets over there, kind of behind the peaks on that side. And I checked in photo pills, and it looks like it comes up over on that direction over there, also kind of to the side and behind Vestrahorn. The only time that Vestrahorn seems to get any kind of real sun in the front is when it's when the sun is higher in the sky and when it's brighter in the back there in the mid-afternoon, which obviously is not a very ideal time to be shooting. So right now, the light is looking pretty good. It's much more green than I was expecting the image to be, because the grass is just so much greener than it was last time I was here. There's just so much more of it. But I'm hoping that once that sun gets a little bit lower, and maybe it'll kick some light across over here and light up some of these clouds a bit more than they are right now. There's a little bit of something going on. A little bit of orange up there, but I would prefer some pinks and some magentas. If we got some of that, then we might be getting somewhere, and then that might look pretty good. So right now, I'm kind of in the mode of, you know what, I think I found a good enough spot. Could there be a better one? Sure. Do I feel like picking everything up and hunting out another one? Not really, because I might not find a better one, and by the time I do, the light may be gone. So this is kind of like what I kind of think of as like the hunker down moment. This is the moment where it's like you picked your spot, and you made a choice, and this is where you're gonna wait and see what's in store. So it's later in the evening now, and it's actually blue hour right now, believe it or not. On the GoPro, it kind of looks like daytime, but it is blue hour, technically, blue hour in Iceland at least, which means the sun doesn't get completely down. It just gets kind of dim. So I intentionally went wide angle. I did shoot some panoramics too, using standard focal lengths like 35 and 50 millimeters. Don't know how those are going to turn out, but I'm going to give those a try too. In order to give the piece a little more grandeur. But we shall see. I think the wide angles actually look pretty good. Thank you for hanging out with me. Thank you for being part of this video and being here. If you're new to my channel, you've never been here before, this is what I do. I make videos every week about photography here on my channel. And if you enjoyed this video, please take a moment and give it a thumbs up. It really does help. And to also subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so already. I'm going to be posting, there are other videos from Iceland that I'm creating for this trip, so be sure to check those out as well. I'll be creating a playlist too. Thanks so much for your support and your time and attention. I will see you next time. What's also interesting about this Stokksnes location, which kind of juts out and sticks off the southeastern part of the country, is that there actually used to be a U.S. military outpost here. And you can actually see the remnants of it out on the edge, on the very edge of the water here. I actually happen to know someone and we just happened to start talking about Iceland one time. And she said to me, oh, I lived in Iceland for a little while. I was in the military. And we would be at these outposts on the coastline, these military outposts. And they were always scanning the water for submarines, for Soviet submarines. Cold War kind of stuff. It says, warning, radar site, restricted area. This is, it's now under the operation of NATO, apparently. Still a secure facility. Unauthorized persons are strictly prohibited. Admittance, no parking, can't go in there. Wouldn't surprise me if you remember the old show Lost, if there's like a person in there that's just like pushing a button every hour.